Title: The Millionaire Farmer Adopts a Widow and her 5 kids at auction. One calls him Daddy. Chapter 1: The Mysterious Beginning. From the very first moment, an eerie silence hung over the old farmhouse, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves stirred by an unseen breeze. Strange shadows flickered across the cracked walls, as if the house itself held secrets desperate to be uncovered. Every creak of the floorboards echoed like a whispered warning, while outside, the distant howl of a lone wolf sent chills down the spine. Something was undeniably wrong, a hidden truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to unravel. The air grew thick with anticipation as unexplained lights danced in the darkness, and the townsfolk's hushed rumors spoke of an ancient curse that no one dared to challenge. Each strange occurrence piled upon the last, weaving a tangled web of mystery that pulled the reader deeper into the story, craving to know what sinister forces were at play. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important alert. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button down below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, drop that powerful like that helps me so much with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love meeting every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. If you like stories about farmers, about everyday life on the farm, and want to know what really happens in the daily lives of the biggest farmers in the world, the hidden stories of the richest owners, and the secrets of the farm girls that the media doesn't reveal, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click on the first link in the video comments and get yours now. Chapter 2: The Shocking Reveal. The atmosphere in the old farmhouse grew thicker, swirling with unsolved riddles and whispering doubts. Shadows seemed to grow longer, reaching for something, someone. As the night wore on, the unexplained lights flickered with an erratic pulse, almost breathing in time with the mounting tension. Every creak of the floorboards echoed with a sense of foreboding. A shiver ran down the spine of anyone choosing to venture too close. The widow, Clara, huddled her 5 children close to the fireplace. They watched the blinking lights in awe and terror, their eyes wide like saucers. "Mama, do you think it's ghosts?" the youngest, Daisy, asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Clara forced a smile, though worry twisted in her chest. "No, love, just the old house playing tricks on us." But before she could ease their fears, a loud crash erupted from the attic above. It rattled the windows and their hearts. Clara's face went pale. "Stay here," she ordered, though her own hands trembled as she grabbed a nearby lantern. She climbed the winding staircase, each step creaking ominously underfoot. In the attic, she found a scene that sent ripples of dread through her veins. A dusty trunk, long forgotten, lay open as if someone had just hastily gone through it. As Clara peered inside, a gust of icy wind blew through the window, sending a chill racing through her bones. Inside the trunk, family photographs, faded yet unmistakable, lay strewn about. Faces stared back at her, faces that made her heart race, her late husband's face among them. But there was more. A newspaper clipping lay folded at the bottom of the trunk. Clara's hands shook as she unfolded it. The headline read, "Mysterious Deaths at No Stone Farm. Owner vanishes without a trace." The article chronicled disappearances linked to her husband's family. Her mind spun. This wasn't just a curse. It was a dark legacy. Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind her. Clara whirled around to find Thomas, the wealthy farmer who had adopted them. His eyes were wide, disbelief washing over his features. "Clara, you shouldn't be up here. What do you know about this?" She thrust the article at him, her voice sharp as broken glass. Thomas paled, his usually confident demeanor cracking under the weight of the revelation. I never wanted you to find this. It's..." Just then, a blinding flash of light erupted from the trunk, enveloping the room in a shimmering glow. The air around them crackled as a voice, deep and resonant, vibrated through the rafters. The pact must be fulfilled. Daisy's fearful giggle from downstairs dashed through the silence. As all thoughts of fear turned to panic, "Mama!" she shrieked. "The lights are—" Clara's heart sank. This wasn't just about the farmhouse. This was about her family's survival. Thomas took a step closer, urgency in his voice. "I can. Explain everything, Clara. The truth is—" But before he could finish, the very foundation of the house trembled, a deafening roar vibrating through the walls. The lights burst, plunging them into darkness. Clara grabbed Thomas's arm, terror taking hold. What had they awakened? What would the truth unearth? In that moment, she realized that everything she knew, everything she believed, was about to change forever. "Thomas!" she shouted, fear clawing at her throat. "What are we up against?" He gazed at her, panic in his eyes, the shadows flickering all around them, whispers of danger hanging in the air. "We're already too far in." What did that mean? What secrets lay buried and weight pressing down as Clara clutched her children's future in her hands? And as the darkness closed in, it became painfully clear. The curse wasn't just from the house. It was alive, and it knew them. Chapter 3. The Shattering Truth. The darkness felt alive. Clara's heart thudded in her chest as the air crackled around them. Thomas's eyes widened, terror mirrored in his face. The light remained a blinding blur, swirling with an energy that felt ancient and furious. Clara clutched his arm tighter, her fingers trembling. "What's happening? What did we awaken?" He didn't answer. Instead, a low rumble thrummed through the floor, vibrating right to their bones. Then, like a spark igniting an explosion, the trunk erupted with a pulse of energy, sending shards of light bursting across the attic. Clara squinted against the brightness, panic clawing at her throat. Suddenly, a strong gust slammed the attic window open, causing the pictures to flutter like trapped birds. One by one, photographs of smiling faces fluttered down to their feet. Clara bent to pick one up, her hand shaking. It was a picture of her husband, but beside him stood a woman Clara had never seen before. Beautiful, with flowing hair and piercing eyes that seemed to glow even now. Just then, the picture shifted, morphing before her eyes. "Clara!" Thomas's voice cut through the rising chaos. "Look out!" Before she could react, the other photographs twisted in the air, swirling around like a cyclone, slamming into walls, creating a whirlwind of memories. They danced around her with horrifying speed, faces smiling and then twisting as though they were alive and in pain. "Stop!" she cried, clutching her head. The images felt heavy, suffocating. "Make it stop!" And then a voice thundered through the air, deeper than any sound Clara had ever heard. "The bloodline must awaken." "Bloodline?" she repeated, confusion mixed with dread, pooling in her stomach. What does that mean? In that moment, the blinding light transformed. It dimmed abruptly, revealing the dark figure of her husband's smiling face. But his expression twisted to that of anger. "You should have left it buried, Clara. The truth was never yours to uncover." Clara stumbled back, her breath hitching. "What's happening? You're not—" She couldn't grasp it. The man she had loved and buried was standing before her. Or was it an illusion? "You need to understand." Thomas stepped forward, his voice trembling. "Clara, you're part of this legacy too. You always have been. You don't know who you really are." Her chest tightened. "Who I am? Thomas, just tell me, please." But before he could answer, the attic trembled with a sudden crash. Something shifted above them, and the rafters creaked ominously. The flash of light flickered once more, and then everything went dark. Beneath the silence, she felt the weight. But the truth crushed her spirit, like a stone pressing down into the depths. What was she? What did he mean? Before her thoughts could gather, the air shifted again, colder and more oppressive. The sound of laughter drifted through the closed window, a chorus of children's voices, echoing through the night. But it wasn't just any laughter. It was her children. The fear for their safety shot through her like fire. "Daisy, Danny, where are you? Clara!" Thomas shouted. But his voice was swallowed by the darkness. And then, like a sudden spring storm, a figure emerged from the shadows. "Mommy?" a voice called. It was Nessa, her oldest daughter. Clara felt relief flicker inside her. But as Nessa stepped closer, her little face was twisted in something that looked more than fear. It was recognition. "Mama, it's true," she gasped, her eyes wide. "You've known all along, haven't you?" The world tilted on its axis. Everything Clara thought she knew shattered like glass around her. "Knew what?" Clara's voice came out as a whisper. Nessa pointed toward the trunk, wide-eyed. "The family secret! The curse! It's you, isn't it?" In that moment, Clara felt everything spiral into chaos. The house shuddered again, a warning echoing through the walls. The pulse of darkness loomed closer, threatening to engulf them all. "Tell me!" Clara shouted across the void of uncertainty. "What do you mean?" But Nessa could only stare back, her little frame trembling with both fear and the weight of a dark truth. The air hung thick and suffocating, leaving Clara breathless. In that silence, Clara realized everything was about to change. What secrets lay buried deep in her past? What would they unearth? The answers threatened to drown her, leaving only questions swirling in the suffocating darkness around them. Chapter 4: The Blazing Truth. The silence stretched thick, pressing against Clara's chest as she stared at Nessa's face. What did her daughter know? Heart pounding, she felt the weight of all their lives hanging by a thread, the house vibrating with their fears. "Mom, the woman in the picture." Nessa's voice cracked, urgency spilling from her lips. "You're connected to all of it. She's part of who you are." Clara's mind reeled. The woman in the photo? Was she just another ghost from the past? Panic surged through her like wildfire. "What do you mean?" She's the one who made the pact," Nessa said, her eyes wide, tears glistening. "And you, Mom, you have her blood in you." A chill raced down Clara's spine. Bloodline. The word echoed in her mind, but the truth felt tangled, distant. Thomas stepped closer, his voice urgent, yet trembling. "Clara, we need to discuss this now. It's not just about the house anymore. You're linked to the disappearances. The curse, it's part of your heritage." Clara's breath caught. "What? No, that can't be true." But as she looked around, shadows twisted, inching toward her like hungry specters. "You're saying I'm cursed?" "Not cursed in the way you think," Thomas insisted. "You hold power, ancient power. The bloodline has kept this curse alive. Only you can break it." "Break it?" she stammered. "I don't want any part of this. Why can't we just leave?" A sudden loud crash interrupted her panic, reverberating through the walls. A collective gasp rose from her children as the attic door burst open, revealing blinding light spilling into the room. Clara shielded her eyes. The air danced, flickering like flames. And then she saw him. A man stepped through, cloaked in shadows and light. He had the same haunting features as her husband, but his eyes burned brighter. "Clara!" His voice boomed, resonating deep within her core. "I have returned." "Who are you?" Clara demanded, confusion and dread swirling like a storm. "I am your true father," the man declared, his voice echoing in the shadows, piercing through her soul. "The one who made the pact you hold." "No! That's impossible!" Her voice shattered like glass, panic clawing at her throat. But he laughed, a chilling sound that rattled the rafters. "You were never meant to live among the living. I hid the truth from you, but now it has awakened. The curse was to protect you, my daughter." Clara's heart raced, each beat entwined with disbelief. "You're lying. I have a life here. Those kids, you're mine." He stepped closer, shadows swirling around him. "And they are bound to the curse. You must make a choice, Clara. Break the bloodline or let darkness claim a fall." Nessa cried out, and Clara turned, her heart twisting. "No, don't listen to him." "I can't let you ruin everything," the man continued, eyes locked onto Clara's. "The power resides within you, but it comes with a price. Embrace it or condemn us to an eternity of suffering." With every word, Clara felt her world spin. Was this real? Was this her father? Every instinct screamed to reject him, but the truth felt like a knife turning in her gut. Dread coiled around her heart. "Mama, please!" Nessa pleaded, her small hands trembling in fear. "Don't believe him!" But the man's presence loomed larger, dark and captivating. "Your choice will determine our fates," he thundered. "Will you embrace your destiny or let the curse decide?" Clara's vision blurred with tears, the fabric of her life unraveling. The shadows danced, but so did the possibilities. What would she choose? As the air thickened with tension, a whisper slithered through the darkness. What will you become? What would she become? The question echoed like a drumbeat, filling the space with uncertainty. Clara stood frozen, her heart pounding, knowing the answer would change everything. Chapter 5. The devastating reveal. The air crackled with an electric tension, pressing in on Clara. The shadows swirled, flickering like lost souls in torment. Her father's eyes, burning with intensity, searched hers, looking for something buried deep within. Clara's heart raced. Every word hung heavy, like stones weighing her down. You're my father? But you left us! You left me! Anguish broke her voice, leaving it shaky and raw. His lips curled in a grim smile. I protected you from the truth. You could have lived without the burden. But that time is over. Now you must choose. Choose? What do you mean? Her voice wavered, panic creeping in. He stepped closer, shadows enveloping him. This legacy is yours, to wield or to shatter. The choice is yours, but you cannot escape your blood. But just as the tension reached its peak, a loud noise erupted from below. The house it shook violently. Clara staggered, clutching her children. Thomas grabbed her shoulder, his eyes wide with disbelief. In the cellar, he shouted over the din. Something is coming! Before she could question further, the ground shook again, and the floorboards creaked ominously. Clara felt a rush of fear slam into her gut. My kids! We need to get them out! But her father raised a hand, eyes darkening. No, you cannot leave. In that moment, the atmosphere shifted sharply. The trunk exploded with blinding light, and in an instant, a fury of wind swept through the attic, knocking Clara off her feet. Then the ground beneath them opened, a jagged fissure of darkness and light. Screams erupted from below, piercing her heart. It was her children's voices. Mama, help us! Daisy cried out, terror lacing her tiny voice. Clara! Thomas shouted, panic taking hold of him. We have to save them! Clara scrambled to her feet, adrenaline flooding her veins. No, not my kids! As she moved toward the opening, a powerful wind surged, pushing her back. Shadows clawed at her, eager to pull her into the abyss. Stay away, she yelled, fighting against it. But then something shifted. A figure emerged from the darkness below. It wasn't just her children. It was a woman, the same woman from the photograph, her haunting beauty unmistakable. Clara, she called, her voice echoing like a whisper from a dream. Who are you? Clara gasped, confusion whirling inside her. I'm your ancestor, the woman replied, stepping forward. And I hold the key to your fate. Clara's heart raced. You're part of this? More than you know, the woman said, eyes glimmering with secrets. You were destined to find us. And then, like a wave crashing down, the truth hit her. You're the curse, she shouted, frustration boiling over. Not the curse, your freedom. The ground trembled again. Clara felt her resolve shatter. I don't understand. Your father didn't lie, the woman continued. This bloodline holds both darkness and light. You must decide which path to walk. The shadows hissed, growing more aggressive. This isn't a game, Clara yelled. Let them go! But instead, the darkness snaked around her father. He writhed, as if caught in a web, the shadows pulling him down. Don't listen to her. She lies! Does she? Clara shot back, her heart pounding in her chest. Nessa cried out, her little frame trembling. Mama, please, help us. The cries of her children rang like a siren, shattering Clara's composure. No! I won't lose them! Clara, her father's voice cut through the chaos. You must make your choice. Break the bloodline or save. Your children! Time seemed to stop. The world held its breath. Clara felt her heart hurt. If I choose this, what does it mean for them? No time! Thomas shouted. We need to act! Please! As the shadows surged, threatening to overwhelm, Clara stood frozen, heart racing, mind racing. Everything she thought she knew hung on a knife's edge. Would she save her children and forsake the legacy? Or embrace her true nature? Everything swirled chaotically. Clara! The man shouted, desperation painting his voice. Choose! In that moment, Clara felt the weight of the world descend upon her. What would she do? What would the choice bring? And then she made her decision. Chapter 6: The Unraveling Truth. The air crackled with a tension that felt like a live wire. Clara's heart thundered in her chest. She was on the brink, caught between choices that could tear her family apart. Choose, echoed in her mind. But all she could see were her children, fear etched on their little faces. Suddenly, a powerful jolt rippled through the ground. The floor shook as if the house itself was alive, and the shadows grew more restless, drawing closer. Clara steeled herself. Face set with determination, but fear gripped her. Just when she thought she would make her choice, when every fiber of her being urged her to save her kids, a sudden, blinding light erupted from the opening beneath them. It swallowed. The attic, bright and consuming, lifting Clara off her feet. Everything went white. Then silence. Clara blinked, disoriented. She looked around, expecting shadows and chaos, but she was met with an empty room. No trunk, no voices, no children, just stillness. A chill slithered down her spine. Panic surged. Nessa! Daisy! Danny! Her voice echoed through the void, unanswered. What's happening? Thomas's voice cut through the silence, filled with disbelief. He grasped her arm tightly, drawing her attention. Where are they? Clara's breath quickened. I don't know, they were just here. A wave of desperation crashed over her, and she staggered back, feeling the weight of the moment swirling into darkness, forming into faces, familiar faces, and Clara gasped. They were her children, but not quite as she remembered. Their eyes, wide and gleaming, held a depth that terrified her. Mama, Nessa called, but her voice echoed strangely, as is coming from somewhere far away. Clara could feel something shifting, something ancient threatening to unravel. Clara, listen! Thomas shouted, urgency threading through every syllable. We need to find them. The curse, it's changing everything. But the shadows convulsed, and from the depths of darkness, a figure emerged. A man with familiar features, but marked differently. The same cruel grin, hollow eyes, an echo of her father, yet something was off. Figure said, but his voice felt like ice, wrapping around her heart. You're late! What do you mean? Where are my children? She stepped back, tension humming in the air. "They are safe," he assured, but a flicker of something sinister darkened his expression. "For now." "What do you want?" Clara snapped, fighting against the panic rising in her throat. His grin widened, showing a glimmer of sharp teeth. You who were destined to inherit this legacy. You never realized how intertwined our fates truly were." "What do you mean?" Her heart raced, dread pooling in her stomach. "What did you do?" "I awakened what you had buried." He laughed, a chilling sound reverberating through her. "Bones. This curse, this bloodline, it's not just a chain. It's an opportunity, Clara. An opportunity you were meant to seize." In that moment, a heavy truth hit Clara like a punch. "You're not my father. You're the one who cursed my family." He tilted his head, eyes glittering. "A piece of the family, yes, but also a part of you. You've always known deep down." "No!" Clara shook her head, denial rising. "This isn't who I am." His laughter echoed, deep and mocking. "Are you sure? You're more like me than you know." Before she could respond, the ground shook violently again. And suddenly, Clara saw it. Her children, bound in shadows, frozen in a strange light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "No!" she screamed, but the darkness closed in. "Clara!" Thomas yelled, panic twisting his voice. "We have to go! Now!" Just as she turned to grab Thomas, a wave of realization washed over her. She felt a strange power within, coursing like fire through her veins. "If I embrace this, will it save them?" Her father's figure smirked. "Or doom them. Choose wisely." With her heart racing, Clara hesitated, everything hanging in the balance. What did this mean? What was awakening within her? "Clara!" Thomas shouted again, the urgency in his voice pulling her back. "Don't let it consume you!" And as the winds howled, Clara held her breath. What lay beneath was more than a curse. It was the heart of her lineage. In that moment, she felt a terrible truth seep into her bones. "Choose, Clara. The darkness calls." And just as her decision hovered on the edge of clarity, the shadows morphed again, transforming into nightmare visions of her children's faces twisted in agony. In that horrifying instant, Clara realized she wasn't just fighting for her children. She was fighting for herself. What choice would she make in the face of the dark truth? Would she embrace the legacy? Or would she risk everything to defy it? Her heart raced, trapped in a whirlwind of doubt. The shadows danced, whispering secrets just out of reach, and all Clara could do was gasp for air, trapped between past and present, darkness and light. Chapter 7: The Earth Shatters. Clara's heart pounded louder than the shadows around her. Panic surged as she struck a desperate glance toward her children. Nessa's wide eyes shimmered with fear. Cockatoos of knowledge were rattling around in Clara's mind, and it felt like a storm was building within her. "Choose, Clara!" The echoes of the voices merged into a terrifying chorus. "Your fate awaits." But then a sudden roar sounded beneath them. The ground trembled violently. Clara stumbled, nearly losing her footing. "What is happening?" she shouted, clutching Thomas's arm. And just like that, everything collapsed. The fissure at their feet expanded, deeper than the abyss. pulling them closer to the darkness. Her heart raced. The shadows reached for her, whispering her deepest fears. "Get back!" Thomas yelled, trying to pull her away. Then came the light. A blinding flash burst from the fissure. Clara shielded her eyes, and in that illuminating moment, all the shadows dissolved, revealing a scene more surreal than a nightmare. Figures emerged through the light, spectral but familiar. They looked like ghostly versions of her children, their childish forms shimmering, glowing like fireflies caught in a web of dread. "Mama!" they cried, their voices uniting in a haunting chorus that twisted Clara's heart. In the chaos, Clara felt a powerful pulse radiating from her. It thudded in her bones. She realized she was at the epicenter of this strife. All eyes were on her, including the malicious gaze of her father's specter. "Embrace this!" he commanded, a grin splitting his face, revealing sharper teeth. "You are the key!" "No!" Clara screamed, rejecting anything that even smelled of darkness. "I won't let this consume me." Suddenly, something unexpected happened. A shockwave erupted from Clara, knocking the shadows away. For a split second, silence fell. The tension broke as everyone, a mix of echoes and shadows, faded into the light. But then, from the radiant glow, a figure stepped forward. Not her children, not Thomas. This was someone she had never expected. "Mom?" The voice echoed through the frozen moment. Clara squinted into the light, blood running cold in her veins. The figure was shockingly familiar, and the realization hit her harder than any blow. "Is it true?" she whispered, taking a step back. You can't be." "Clara," the figure spoke softly, a new urgency threading through the air. "You need to understand. Everything you believe is a lie, including your children's fate." Clara's breath hitched. "What do you mean? What have you done?" Panic surged, suffocating her. "I've come to save you," the figure said, calm amid the chaos. "But I need you to choose, to trust me." The shadows roared, threatening to swallow her as Clara's heart raced. This wasn't just a family secret. It was a betrayal woven through every thread of her life. "Not again!" she cried out, tears streaming down her face. "I can't go through this again." The moving figure stepped forward into the light. It was a mirror image of herself, yet familiar in a way she had never felt before. "You have the power to break this cycle, Clara. You just need to remember," her doppelganger said, urgency sparking her voice. "What? Remember?" Clara felt like she was drowning in confusion. Before she could fully grasp the situation, the floor trembled violently. "Mom, help us!" Nessa's terrified cry shot through Clara's heart. The room swirled, images flashing through Clara's mind. And then, as everything began to snap into focus, the truth hit her like a tidal wave. "I'm you!" she gasped, the words spilling from her lips, tangible and raw. "You're another me!" "Yes, I am everything you could have been." The doppelganger's voice rang with urgency. "But you must hurry. The curse will only bind you if you hesitate. And your children, they hold the key to changing everything." Clara's mind raced. What key? What do you mean? Your bloodline isn't just cursed, it's powerful. Too powerful if left unrestrained, she replied, voice intense. Only by understanding the depths of your bond with them can you break free. Why now? Clara cried. Why reveal this now? Because, dear sister, the figure replied, urgency crackling. I didn't just come to save you. I came to warn you. The past is closer than you think, and the cost of ignorance is death. Clara trembled, fear coursing like electricity. Her world spun. Reality shattered. Shadows lunged. Clara was caught between choices and realization, breathless and reeling. Mom, we don't have time! Nessa screamed again, voices mingling in a frantic plea. The ground trembled. The darkness surged. Shadows laughed, seething, hungry for their moment. Embrace this, her counterpart urged again, the stakes rising. The choice is yours. Now. The fight loomed before Clara, and without hesitation, it was clear. Would she break free, or would darkness consume everything she held dear? Desperation clawed at her throat. In a world of fractured truths, her destiny was at hand. What was she truly willing to sacrifice? Chapter 8. The Shattering Revelation. Clara stood on the edge of a precipice, the uncertainty swirling around her like a tempest. Her pulse raced, fear clawing at her throat as she looked between her children, her doppelganger, and the shadows closing in. The awareness of something monumental pressed against her, a tide whispering that everything would change at any moment. Mom, you have to make a choice. Nessa's voice crackled with urgency, barely breaking through the chaos around them. Clara felt the weight of expectation pressing down on her. But before she could speak, the ground shuddered violently. The light flickered. Shadows danced, eager for her despair. No! I can't let them take you! Suddenly, everything exploded. A blinding white light surged upwards. Clara stumbled back, instinctive hands shielding her eyes. The darkness roiled, the whispers crescendoed, until the earth itself screamed. Then, just as quickly, the light vanished, and Clara found herself gasping in a deep, bewildering silence. Something in the air shifted. The atmosphere crackled, electric with tension. Clara blinked, disoriented. She squinted back into the room, her heart racing. Faces morphed, twisted. The familiar flash of fear ignited once more. Where? Clara gasped. Where are my children? Before she could even form a complete thought, the shadows twisted violently. The air hummed, and she felt a presence emerge from the depths. A being cloaked in darkness, eyes glimmering like stars below an ocean. You are more powerful than you know, it said, its voice echoing, casting ripples in her mind. I don't want your power, Clara shouted back, that familiar tightness in her chest tightening. Just let my kids go. Ah, but children are a gift. The being laughed, a sound that rattled her very being. But even I know gifts can be burdens. They are lucky to have you. They would... Shocking. Clara saw a young girl, laughing, her hair golden beneath the sun. You were never just Clara, the being continued, drawing her closer. You are the heir to an ancient power beyond your imagination, and so are your children. Stunned, Clara's mind raced. What are you saying? They're just kids. Oh, they are so much more. All your family is entwined in these shadows. The curse binds you together, a legacy. You were meant to lead it, not escape it. A sharp gasp escaped her lips. Nessa's haunting face appeared again. Mom, please, you can't let them. Eyes wide with fear. It is too late. They're already part of this. The being screamed back, its voice thunderous. You must accept your fate. No! Clara shook her head violently, disbelief washing over her. You're lying! I won't let this happen! But then, Clara felt it. Something deep within her surged, a force she could no longer ignore. The wind howled as shadows wrapped tighter around her. Accept it, Clara! The being shouted, a chorus of voices weaving through the air. Otherwise, your bloodline will perish. Suddenly, a piercing scream sliced through the thick air. It was Thomas, stumbling back as he tripped. Clara, it's not just about them, he screamed, horror evident. The woman in your photo. Cheese. The being cut him off, a tempest of shadows swirling. No, don't spoil this revelation. Thomas, what do you know? Clara's voice was sharp, fear and urgency intertwining. You're tied to this more than anyone knows. You hold the key to everything. He halted, the truth hanging heavy between them. Before Clara could question further, the shadows surged, pulling Thomas into the dark. No, Clara screamed, arms outstretched, but the darkness swallowed him. The world spun. Clara felt dizzy, her breath coming in rapid gasps. As she fought through the chaos, a revelation struck her hard. My children, my family, the curse. A dark corner of her heart whispered, but her resolve solidified. Come, what may, she murmured. I choose to find them. As shadows postured ready to claim her, Clara felt a surge of power. It flowed through her, a raging fire demanding to be unleashed. And in that moment, everything changed. What had she discovered about herself? What would she become? In the heart of darkness, one truth shone bright. The path ahead was uncertain, but it would redefine everything she believed. And then, a loud crack split the air as the ground beneath trembled. Chapter 9. The Final Choice. Clara's heart raced, a relentless drumbeat of urgency echoing in her chest. The ground trembled beneath her as shadows writhed like snakes, reaching for her. I won't let you take. Then, she yelled, feeling the fire inside her swell. Power surged, crackling at her fingertips, and for a moment she thought she could unleash it, break free. But then the roar of darkness shattered her resolve, swirling around like a storm. The shadows howled, angry and wild, as if they sensed her growing strength. Clara felt the air thicken, her breath hitching with fear and desperation. Where were her children? Did they suffer? The light dimmed. Flickering like a candle in a hurricane, Clara's knees weakened. She struggled to stay upright, torn between fear and the urge to fight. I have to find them, she gasped, blinking back tears, clenching her fists. Clara, don't succumb to it. Her doppelganger's voice broke through, urgent and fierce. You can defeat them, but only if you trust yourself. With every ounce of her being, Clara chanted in her mind, I must protect them. They need me. She felt the truth of it, the pulse of destiny coursing through her veins. Shadows lunged, and just when they threatened to engulf her, a jolt of electricity surged from her core. Enough, Clara screamed, unleashing her will. Light burst forth, illuminating the room. The darkness retreated howling like a wounded animal. But in that moment of clarity, something shifted. The walls trembled, cracking as the shadows retreated in fear. A deep fissure opened, and in the midst of the chaos, she caught a flicker, a flash of blonde hair. "Clara!" Nessa cried, panic lacing her voice. "Nessa!" Clara shouted, stretching her arms towards her daughter, heart racing. But just then, the shadows snapped back, trapping her little girl. "No!" Clara's voice broke, desperation clawing at her throat. She dashed forward, but something yanked her back, a cold hand grasping her wrist. She turned, eyes wide, to see her father, the shadowy figure emerging, a wicked smile curling on his lips. "Let her go!" Clara shouted, fury rising. But he only laughed, darkness swirling around him like a mantle. "Foolish girl, you think you can wield power without consequence?" He stepped closer, and in that moment, a sudden realization knocked the breath from Clara's lungs. "You were never meant to break this curse. You were meant to become part of it." "No!" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "This is not who I am." But the laughter grew louder, mocking her defiance. Then, as Clara felt the shadows tightening their grip around her, a sudden burst of energy ignited inside her. The room lit up, shadows swallowing light. And out of the chaos, a scream rang out. "Thomas!" "Clara!" His voice echoed, filled with anguish. "I'm sorry." Just before he could finish, the shadows enveloped him completely, silencing his cries. Clara felt her heart shatter. "No!" Suddenly, the ground beneath them ruptured. Clara fell to her knees as a blinding light erupted, spilling from the fissure like a fountain. And then she saw it, the truth. Her pain became clarity. Images flashed. Her, Nessa, her children, bound in a web of shadows, but also light. The woman from the photograph, the powerful ancestor, stood among them. "You must remember," her voice echoed, firm and strong. In a flash, understanding dawned. Memories of laughter, of family gatherings. Nothing was as it seemed. "Clara, don't!" the doppelganger cried, fear gripping her voice. "You are connected to this legacy, but you can choose your path." "Choose?" Clara gasped, the weight of possibility crashing into her. "What do I do?" "You must decide," her other self urged. "Will you accept your past, or will you forge your own future?" As shadows closed in, the air grew colder, haunting whispers clinging to the edges of her mind. Clara felt the darkness pulling her down. She glanced at her children, their faces twisted in fear. "Clara!" Nessa screamed, reaching out. It all came down to this. The power surged within her like an untamed beast. With everything on the line, she braced herself, heart pounding. What would she become? And then, just as the shadows twisted and lunged, and just as everything threatened to collapse, it happened. Time froze. In that fleeting moment, the shadows flickered, revealing a devastating truth. Her father, the cursed one, wasn't just a shadow. He was her twin's reflection, a part of her she had long forgotten. The shock crashed over her like a tidal wave, thrusting her into chaos. "So, who am I really?" she whispered, the question hanging like a weight. The shadows stirred, waiting, ready, hungry. The answer was close. but so was the darkness. What would the truth reveal? And what would it cost her? As the shadows pressed closer, Clara felt the energy within her reach its peak. Her gaze flickered from the darkness surrounding her children back to the spectral figure of her father. A cruel smile spread across his face. In that moment, her heart shifted from fear to unyielding determination. "I will not succumb to your darkness," Clara declared, her voice steady yet fierce. She focused on the flickering light of her children's faces stirring in the shadows. Their eyes were pleading, innocent, filled with love and fear, a blend compelling her to act. The swirling darkness hesitated, confusion rippling through its depths at her newfound strength. "You cannot fight your destiny," her father bellowed, the shadows pulsating wildly around him. "Destiny?" Clara shouted back, fiercely. "I choose my own path." And with that declaration, she reached deep within. Recalling the laughter, the warmth of family gatherings, the vows she made as a mother to always protect her children. "Let them go! Release my family!" she commanded, voice resonating powerfully. And as she spoke, a brilliant light shot from her, illuminating the darkness. The shadows recoiled, shrieking as if burned by the brilliance. Nessa screamed as the light flared, shadows lifting, revealing her struggling against their grip. "Mom, I knew you'd come!" "Hold on, Nessa!" Clara shouted, throwing her heart into the release of power. The energy coursed through her veins like wildfire as she thrust her arms outward. The light pulsed, strong and vibrant, sending tendrils of warmth to wrap around the children. "Clara, focus!" her doppelganger urged, stepping beside her. "This is your moment. Embrace the truth of who you are." With a deep breath, Clara summoned every ounce of love she held for her family, murmuring words of protection, binding her essence to them. The shadows writhed violently, realizing their grip was losing power. "No, stop!" her father's voice echoed, panic intertwining with rage. But Clara felt herself breaking free, a surge of hope pouring through her like water bursting from a dam. The shadows melted, revealing her children, their eyes brightening as the darkness released its hold. "Mom!" they cried, running into her embrace. As they united, Clara felt an overwhelming surge, a connection, a oneness. "Let's finish this together," Clara's voice rang out, and together they formed a circle, hands clasped, hearts beating as one. The atmosphere grew electric as the light swelled around them. "You are stronger than you think," Clara cried, feeling laughter bubble within her. "Together, we can shatter this curse." With that, the light erupted, crashing toward the shadows. The darkness roared in defiance, but Clara didn't waver. Love and strength surged, igniting the room in a dazzling display, illuminating the path toward their freedom. As the darkness finally crumbled, Clara watched the shadows dissolve, her father's final scream fading into nothingness. The air felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from their souls. Breathless, Clara turned to her children, relief flooding her heart. "Are you okay?" They nodded, tears streaking their cheeks, but smiles breaking through. Then Clara glanced at her doppelganger, gratitude spilling over. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling the unbreakable bond they now shared. "You are never alone," her other self replied, the shadows of doubt dissipating. What lies ahead is yours to shape. Emboldened, Clara held her children tight, whispering promises of safety and love. The farmhouse hummed with new energy, the curse broken, a legacy rewritten. "Now let's go home," Clara said, feeling the warmth of hope envelop them as they stepped into the light. A future unbound stretched before them. But as they emerged into the reality outside, Clara couldn't shake an unfamiliar feeling, a lingering question about what other secrets lay ahead. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. If you like stories about farmers, about everyday life on the farm, and want to know what really happens in the daily lives of the biggest farmers in the world, the hidden stories of the richest owners and the secrets of the farm girls that the media doesn't reveal, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click on the first link in the video comments and get yours now.